There's tangled stories alive in the air, shouting through the static like we just don't care.
What is up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zoo November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by. Your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. Time for the Hump Day Happy Hour. I don't know what Steven's over there doing. If he's trying to say
Autofocus was freaking out after I showed you that radio.
He might be breakdancing. Who knows what he's doing? If you notice, Dan has caught a stint of he needs some Vagisil or something like that, but he
caught something he can't throw back just yet.
Yeah, he's in the back room, and he'll be running slides for us tonight, but it's okay. We're going to run it without him. Well, not without him, because he's going to run the slides anyway. But before we get started, we're going to thank the Patreons, because they are absolutely awesome people. I can't say enough about them, and I look forward to the 2026 season of setting things up with them. It was a great year for me and the Patreons this year. It's not over yet, but we had a lot of good times for sure. Also, shout out to the YouTube members, equally as important. They are green in chat or blue if they are a moderator. And the ever-changing board, lots of off-screen donations this week. Thank you very much, Kilo 8 Golf Quebec. That's Kilo 8 Golf. That's Kilo 8 Golf Quebec. Did I say Kilo 8 Golf Quebec? Anyway, thank you very, very much for the off-stream donation and happy birthday. Kilo 9 Alpha Echo Echo, also an off-stream donation. Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie, off-stream donation as well. You guys are absolutely awesome. It's like you knew how my week was going, and you just said, let's fix James up. So I appreciate you guys. All right, let's check the chat. We got Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie. He is the first one in the chat. Thank you very much, Chris, for the super chat. Taxes scraping the early late shift. I just worked him as my last activation. So have fun out there, Chris. I appreciate it very much. After Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie, we had Kilo 9er Alpha Echo Echo. I was going into Steven's call. Kilo Oscar 4 Sierra X-Ray Hotel. Welcome. That Whiskey Delta 4 Delta Alpha November. Putting all kinds of links in there for you guys to click on. Kilo Oscar 4 Zulu Romeo X-Ray. Kilo Georgia Parks and Recreation. I'm going to say it right. That's our buddy Ron. Not Ron Chris. That's Ron, because he is from Parks and Recreation. Kilo 8 Golf Quebec. That's Kilo 8 Golf Quebec. That's Kilo 8 Golf Quebec. For those of you who's been in my pilot before. And turd, NC Overman, Old Man Overload. Welcome to the pile up. Kilo Echo 4 Eastern Standard Time and Kilo 4 Alpha Alpha. Mike 88 KB. Andy Callie, what's going on? Larry Bingham. And Robert St. Clair, welcome, buddy. Who else we got here? My Toy Ostrich, who just gave us that super chat. Dad is in the chat. He got to work both of his sons on the same frequency today. So we'll talk about that in a second. Rod, Kilo 4 DSX, thank you for the Park to Parks this week, buddy. Zach, Kilo 4 Zulu Sierra Romeo. Whiskey 8 Oscar X-Ray, Chris, good evening. Interstellar Starman. Stephen Walker, Stephen Walker's here. I hear he's okay, but you got to kind of watch him because he's kind of like that Kilo 8 Golf Quebec guy. Feet Nap, the 1 watt wonder from, I'm going to say from New York. Not really. He's from West by God for sure. We won't say that for you, but he's been spending some time up there for sure. Whiskey 8 Echo Romeo and fam. Or as Dan would say, Whiskey Echo Romeo 8 Echo Romeo. Just so she'll feel at home there. Hey, thank you very much for the super chat, Rod. Robert Smith, November Whiskey 8 Delta. Welcome. And it looks like that is the end of the chat. And Stephen, what is going on?
Just activating. I actually found a mic and I did a couple sideband activations since we last spoke last.
You did, and it was quite funny because I was trying to get me, one more activation in before the stream because, the bands earlier today just sucked. I mean, they just absolutely sucked. And I was not happy with my contact for today. So I was like, I've got to set and get one more in for sure. So I went out to get one. And before I spotted, I happened to glance over at the page and I see Steven on sideband.
Rare DX.
What in the world is Steven doing? So I scroll over to his frequency and he's got a little pile up. I don't throw out a call sign. I just say, what in the world? And he comes back with, I'll take the what in the world station. So
I was really wanting to do that abbreviation phonetically, but I just couldn't process that quickly to be funny.
So he worked me, and then about 2 contacts later, he went QRT, and I was still sitting there. So I was like, okay, cool. So some guy called him after he went QRT. So I called that guy back and said, hey, he's gone, but I'm getting ready to activate. This is Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zulu November, and I'm in 9743, and I'm sitting there typing up my spot as we're going.
That's awesome. I warmed up the band for you, James.
So yeah, Dad got to work us both on the same frequency. I see nice. Jumbo Marshmallows has joined us as well. Oh, but good time. So are you enjoying doing sideband again?
Yeah, it's a change of pace for sure. I still love my CW pileups, but sideband it is fun. It's fun to talk to the people that don't do CW and make those contacts as well. So, and of course, I'm getting teased a lot as well. I'm like, oh, you found a mic. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm actually talking online too, so I do have a voice still. So
I think there's more to it, guys. I think there's a little bit more to that. I think there's more to Stephen doing sideband that he's trying not to tell us.
Yeah, we'll maybe the last 15 minutes we can go on a tangent.
All right, we'll do it. Welcome, John. Kilo 8 November into Victor. Man, you were loud last night, John. Sounding really good. All right, so we're on part 2 of Stephen's motorcycle rove. We covered his west trip last week. A lot of good stuff, and it actually took a whole stream. So, which I'm totally fine with because we just slid him in this week for another part 2 of the stream. We can't do a part 3, so we got to wrap it up because I got a stream set for next week.
We can skip a week. It's all
we're
good.
Gonna wrap it up with the East Coast now. So take it away, Stephen.
Cool. Dan, if you have the overall map, we can just do that as a quick recap. That'd be cool. To buy you some time on that, James, let's talk about my activation here a minute ago. So Um, obviously this is the QRP stream. So my antenna that I use today, right here, it was my linked dipole. And I've been feeling frisky to do a lot more QRO, but I still want to be on the bike. And I can't really bring easily a really large mast on a bike, or I don't want to have to throw a line in the tree. I had to get back for the stream and everything. So today I actually used this antenna with my POTA 20, and it worked great. It's linked dipole BNC connectors. I use 25 foot of 316 coax into my 710. Did 100 watts 100 watt sideband and 50 watt CW. Had a really nice pile up on CW, and so that was kind of fun. So I'm kind of experimenting now on using lighter gauge wire for my QRO activations and using some of my QRP antennas for that. So that's kind of fun
So
on the
so
spirit of
so
motorcycle.
just to touch on that, just in case there's people in the chat that can't hear. Wait a minute, they all can hear because you said you were doing more QRO. You were itching to do some more QRO. So that, I'm just kind of repeating that for the people in the chat that may not want to hear you say you were itching for some more QRO. I don't know who
Yeah.
I'm referring to, but
Well,
I
as
just
I tell PP, I identify as trans wattage, if you will. So I like both. I mean, there's nothing more fun than taking a QRP radio and going for a hike or a motorcycle ride and not have to slap a bunch of gear around and do that. So it's definitely fitting. But also, if you just want to sit down and get a decent pile and struggle on the receive copy side of things, I think I've mentioned this maybe last stream or two. I really enjoy running power on CW because that gives hunters the opportunity that usually don't hear me a chance to, and sometimes I can't hear them because they might either be QRP or they might not have the best antenna system, but because I'm running power or a little bit more power, they're able to hear me and work me. So it's really challenging my copy chops a lot for that. So it's just a challenge flipped in a way. So it's fun.
absolutely
So
it is. And let me ask you this with CW. Do you ever have issues where you're using an automatic CQ and people will hear your automatic CQ, but they don't hear you come back to them when you send? Because
no.
I have this issue a lot.
No, I typically don't even use recorded CQs or
Okay, okay.
anything. I am like in auto mode. I'll be doom scrolling and I'll just key, or I'll be texting you or Dan or PP or something and just automatically being keying. So I really can't say anything about it, unfortunately.
I sort of go back and forth, but I do use a lot of automatic CQing,
Yeah,
and you know, with it's like that on sideband too. Your recorded messages on sideband or your recorded messages on CW, they come across the airwaves louder. I don't know why, but I can tell you they do. And people will hear them and they think just because they can hear them, they can make that contact. And then you'll
yeah.
try to call them back and get nothing, get crickets. Hey, welcome, Sandy. And I also seen Gene McPhee slide in. Welcome to the stream tonight. I was just curious if you had that problem, but yeah, if you don't use an automatic button,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean, it makes sense for sideband that it might be different because if you're running a processor which does compression and you're recording that, and then if your TX is also processed in compression, you're kind of getting double that process, and you might be compressing that audio and pumping more through, and audibly it might be louder. But I don't, with to my understanding on how the CW works, it remembers the code and it just rekeys that code. It's not an actual recording, is how I understand it. At least on some of the radios, I think KX does it.
well,
So
I still have that problem on CW though.
yeah. It when I go to Dayton, let's go talk to some dudes and see if they like. We'll go to the Yaesu booth and Elecraft and see what they say. It'd be interesting to find out for sure. Yeah, you're not the only one that's talked about that.
All right, so you got
So
your map up, so we'll let you go.
yeah,
I just had that
let's do
question.
it. So yeah, the West Coast. As a recap, I did the West Coast. It was 2 weeks, about 6,400 miles. across 2 weeks. Took 2 weeks to catch up on work, do some gigs, clean out my sales pipeline, and then I headed west for a week. And a lot of fun. I started in New Jersey and went up the coast through Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine. Spent 2 weeks or two. I wish I was 2 weeks, but 2 days in Maine, and then just hightailed it home through Vermont, New York, Ohio, and all of that. So that's kind of the overview. And also as a recap, next year my goal is to finish out all of the continental U.S. I'll be in Arizona for Q1 of next year, so I'll easily be able to do Arizona and New Mexico. If as like James warned everybody, if I fall off the POTA wagon next year, it's because I got lost in summits on the air. I will be back in March, I promise, for that. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then I'll still need Alaska and Hawaii, depending on how much time I can take off. I really want to ride up to Alaska in the next couple of years to do that, and then obviously I'll have to fly to Hawaii. I don't think it's financially feasible to take a ferry with the motorcycle from San Diego to Hawaii, but
So
I
when
guess if
you
we get enough super chats tonight, I'll take James.
when you
That's a
say
promise.
ride up to Alaska, you're talking about on your motorcycle.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a trip that all adventure bike riders like to do. They'll go up through the Dalton Highway up to I was going to say Put in Bay, but that's Michigan. What is it? Oh, I forgot. I have it on my weather app. Stand by. The Dalton Highway, scrolling. Prudhoe Bay. There we go. It's the most northern point of the continent. It's in the Arctic Circle. And so tons of adventure bike and jeepers go up there around July of every year. And I knew a guy that left Dallas, Texas, and rode his GS 1200 all the way up and back. And he took 6 weeks to do it and had a great time. So might not do that. Might just ride up to Alaska or to Anchorage and back. And that's, I think, 3,000, 4,000 each way. So I could knock that out in 2 weeks. It'd be fine.
I don't know that I would like riding on ice on a motorcycle very well.
That's why you go in July. You go in
I
July.
I used to do it on a 4-wheeler all the time, but on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
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 You
But
got that.
yeah, we can flip through some photos, go down memory lane here. Dan, aka Vanna. This is my first activation out west or out east. And I would like to talk about antenna deployments on this one. That's the reason why it's here. So I really need, and PP will confirm, I need to get my vertical game going, whether it's a random wire or some kind of a chell against, because there were so many different trees that I could hang a wire from, but I wanted to stay out of the road. So you can't really tell, but I had to run the wire across the road, and it was high enough. It was at least 14 feet high at any point. So if a truck went through, it'd be fine. But that was just kind of a friendly reminder of, yeah, I need to really up my vertical game. So that was a fun thing. James, you were nodding. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I definitely am. So because you said some kind of chelagus, there's something very wrong with that statement when you're using the word some kind of. Listen, I understand that they have went up incredibly because of the tariffs, and they're pretty steep for that intent. But I'm here to tell you that they're going to outperform any knockoff anyway, and they're well worth the money because I have not found a place that I cannot set that one up. Now I still love my Eagle One, and it still will outperform it. It'll outperform any antenna on 40 meters. I don't care. But that antenna, it's well worth it. I'm a very firm believer in the Chelegans. So we talked about this a little bit last week. You get what you pay for.
Yep. No, I agree.
Go ahead and bite the bullet and get it.
Well, the hesitation I really kind of have is I don't really want to pack that long of a whip somewhere. If I could probably pack that. I'd have to look at the collapse dimensions on it. It might go into my Moscow Moto bag that I have where my tent poles are and everything. But that's really the hesitation, is that length of a whip packed. So I don't want to
Oh,
get much longer than a POTA 20 when it comes collapsed with something.
I will compare them, my POTA 20 and the antenna,
Huh.
and we'll talk about it in after chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be helpful. So cool.
Sandy says she just hit the like button. That's absolutely right. There's a lot of people listening, and there should be a lot of likes going on.
We can go on to the next one, Dan. So part of motorcycling is weather. So I had kind of a plan to potentially go up to Nova Scotia. I really wanted to go up there and check that out, but that storm delayed me. And between my weather nerdness and my aviation nerdness, I cross-referenced numerous weather apps, and I actually was able to stay out of the storm. So I monitored that storm for a couple of days, and that one I was able to kind of dodge the bullet. I went up to Plymouth, scored a hotel at like 3 in the afternoon, and then I went all the way around Cape Cod and just checked out the Cod area and just spent extra time there, and had a lot of fun for that piece. So weather, I think I have a couple more screenshots as we progress through this, but we can go on to the next one. That was one of my deployments. I'm a big fan of finding a stump or something to put the radio on, and I'll just tie the radio up and get after it for that. And I was not using my Bomatech on this. And James, have you heard the news about Bomatech?
No.
So I can say this publicly due to the fact that it's on their website, but I regret to inform you that Marcus has recently passed away.
Oh,
And
that's horrible.
based on, yeah, I'm really upset about this. And based on their website, they are closing the business
Oh,
at some
wow.
point. They're gonna clearance out their everything, all of their stock, and I'm not saying anything that's not online already. So you can fact check me. It is accurate on their website. So they're gonna clear out their stock, and they do have a special edition gold key coming out in October. But according to PP's research, they are not shipping it to the States. It's a DHL issue, not a Bomatech. Apparently, we'll keep this PG, but apparently there's just something with customs with DHL that they can't get product shipped over. So we're more than likely not be able to get any more Bomatech equipment for the foreseeable future. So I'm really hoping that someone that loves the company as much as we all do in the PZN community, I hope someone picks it up and runs with it. If anyone wants to move to Germany with me, let's talk. That's where my roots are. Mom's maiden name is Zimmerman, so I got cousins out there I can find. But in all seriousness, it's really sad, and he has a great product, and I hope Marcus's family is doing
Yeah,
well. I've
absolutely.
actually emailed the gentleman back and forth. Great guy, great guy. So
Absolutely
I just wanted
amazing,
to,
amazing paddle.
yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, but yeah, moving on. Also did a food rove, so spin up that stuffed lobster. This was meal 1 of 5 in a row of lobster. So this was on my way up the coast. That was my first experience with a full lobster, and it was funny. The waitress was like, "So, do you want to work for it, or do you want the easy route?" I'm like, "I want a full lobster that's easy." She's like, "Okay, I'll get you the stuffed one." I'm like, "Perfect." Didn't realize that it had shrimp and scallops all up in there, and it was delicious. And so I didn't have to crack anything open except for the claws, and so it was quite delicious. So that was meal 1 of 5 in a row, which was amazing. And that's just kind of a view from nearby the restaurant on the coast, which was kind of fun. And we can flip to the next one. So this is why I picked Plymouth. I split the fronts and I hunkered down there for the night. I watched the front from the south section and the north section, And I still was able to activate that night. There wasn't any lightning, and we can go to the next one. And then that night, that's right when I got to my hotel. Right when I got to my hotel at about 9 o'clock at night, I started getting rained on, and buttoned up the bike, put the cover on quickly, and headed into the hotel, which is fun. So the next one, this is in I think New Jersey, a
Get
park.
out of here.
So I know, right? So this one, this was interesting. So, and James, we could talk about this a little bit. I went to this park and I always try to stay out of the way and deploy my antennas in a way that it's never in anybody's way, but inevitably something happens. Well, here I'm getting it after it, QRP, working my 12 at least, and just people keep trickling in. And by the end of my activation, I had numerous people coming up to me, asking me what I'm doing. And the bands at that time weren't the greatest. And so I'm on the struggle bus, even hearing anything that can remotely hear me. And so they're all talking right next to me. And I'm like, why is everybody here? And I was literally the only shade tree in the entire park, and everybody was there. So there was a big photography meetup. And Dan, if you can flip through just slowly the next 5 slides there. This is a park that was an old quarry, and you're allowed to do graffiti. And there's just different artworks there for that. And so you just go through, and all the photographers go through and take different shots and stuff. So, the point is, on these images, you don't know what you're going to get when you go to a park for that. So that was fun.
First, let me say, Zach said he's considering the TP3. I would consider it really quick and go ahead and get it since what Steven said.
Hands down, one of the best keys ever made.
Like,
absolutely.
I use it daily. Like, I've got several that I switch between, but there's that gets at least an activation a day, if not more. And also, Steven, I'm very, very disappointed. You went to a park that allowed graffiti, and I guarantee you didn't do an A-Trag tag.
I didn't have my paint.
I'm very disappointed, man. You could have borrowed some, man.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I should have done that. So in the quest of my my food tour, I found a really nice hole in the wall Italian joint. And the next one up, I made my own concoction because I love vodka cream sauce. So I did vodka cream sauce with Alfredo and shrimp. I got to do some shrimp if you're that close to the coast. So got some delicious food. It was some of the best pasta I've ever made or eaten. I make it by hand, and it was close to it. So quite delicious. So this was
vodka cream sauce. Have you ever had
Right.
farfalla belladonna?
No.
I will have to make you some. I make a very good farfalla belladonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we'll do it.
All right.
Nice. So this is the coast, East Coast. This is out in New Hampshire. We go one more. You can kind of see my deployment. So you can flip through a couple up to the barge shot, Dan, just slowly. Beautiful park. And Rock the Dipole, that's the one that I talked about. And just a lot of fun. It was fun to get some DX, right off the saltwater. Again, need to up my vertical game. It would really be nice to dip my radials in the water and do that whole thing. But I just wanted to do my 12 and out. I was mainly just wanting to check off the states and kind of hightail it up to Maine.
I understand because I've been on many roves where you're under the time constraints and the pressure and stuff like that. I did Delaware in a weekend. I did 51 parks in a day. I understand the time constraint, but how hard is it for you? Because I know for me, how hard is it for you to be sitting at a place like that right there, overlooking the ocean, doing CW, and do a 12 and out?
Well, at this point in the trip, I was fine
Okay.
because I knew I had Maine to look forward to. So the narrative changed whenever I had to start going back inland. And so it was rough after leaving Acadia. And actually, this is Acadia right here, the campsite that I stayed at on a Sunday night. So beautiful, beautiful park. Yeah, it's rough, but I was okay because I knew I was getting to go to Acadia. But yeah, no, I know where you're going with that. It is rough to not just sit there and smell more of the roses, but you kind of have to just kind of go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I get hungry. That being said, this is the Bahava Lobster Pound, and that's my wonderful parking job with the bike. And you can see the restaurant behind. And that was my first lobster roll. Are you hip to what a lobster roll is, James?
Everybody's talked about them. I have not had one.
So that is a lobster roll. So they pretty much take a nice bun in the form of a hot dog bun, but it's more bougie than that. It's a good piece of, oh, yeah, get it, Dan, get it. And so it's lobster, and it was explained to me before I had it, nice, as it's like in the form of like a chicken salad, but it's lobster. So it's really good. It's nice and creamy, and I mean that lobster was probably still alive a few minutes before they cooked it. So it was delicious. So that meal right there was like $47.
See, I don't think that would be for me.
You got to do it once, though.
I don't think that I would
You got to do
taste
it
it.
once.
I wouldn't pay $47 for it. I can tell you that, because
Yeah.
chances are, as soon as I taste it, I'd be done, because the lobster, that's fine. It's just there's too many condiments in that right there. Like when you said that it's chicken salad with lobster, that right there immediately told me there's going to be way too many condiments in there for me.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have the chicken, obviously, but it just has like it's still pretty pure and fresh, and it tastes pretty clean. So it's not really. Maybe I oversold what the extras are of it, but yeah, I recommend you to try it. So, and then I had to get a lobster sticker there on the side case there, which was fun. Next up, finally made it to Maine. This is Acadia National Park. Uniform Sierra 0001. And I made sure I made a point with James that when I cross motored him, I had to do Uniform Sierra 0001. And he's like,
Yep.
"What are you doing?"
Yep.
But I
He
said
sure
to do
did.
it. So I'm sorry, but not sorry. It was a good time. So beautiful view there. Now we can kind of flip through the next couple of there. So just amazing. I just sat there and watched it. You know what's sad? I mean, obviously I was sitting on my phone taking these photos, but I saw so many people just sitting there with this beautiful view, and they're just sitting doom scrolling on their phone. It's so sad. I'm like, come on, guys. You need to enjoy what's right in front of your face. But
Yeah.
anyway, it is what it is. There's my bomb attack with my PP bag and helmet and bike. That's in Acadia, another spot that I activated from. Nice little spot. That's the DX I was able to get. 5 watts wire. It's kind of crazy. I got Washington State, Spain, and a little past that. So that was a great little activation. I was close enough to the saltwater that I think it really helped the propagation for me. So that was fun.
Was that 20 meters? Is that what you was on there?
Green on polo is 20 meters. Yes. Yep. Yep. This is by far the best clam chowder in Bahaba that I've ever had. I freaked out on the waitress because I'm like, I've had clam chowder from each coast, and this is by far the best. It just was nice and creamy, and the chowder just had so much depth in the palate and the flavors. I mean, you could just tell it simmered there for hours among hours. It was just fantastic. So that was good. And then those are fried lobster tacos in downtown Bahaba, same restaurant. And I wanted something light, and that actually delivered. That looks kind of heavy, but it had like a fruit salsa with mango and pineapple. And I'm not a mango fan, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. However it comes from the chef, let's do it. And it was amazing, fantastic. So there we
See,
go. And then
that's a condiment I can get on board with. Mango and pineapple, I can get on board with that.
yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And then I think I texted you this, James, when I was on the trip. So us our Canadian friends will enjoy that.
Yep.
So yep. And I didn't take this photo for the chick. I just noticed that she's like giving me the death glare. But this place had lobster ice cream. Didn't
Lobster
get it.
ice.
Yeah, the waitress from the couple slides before, she recommended me to go check it out. I'm like, I'll have ice cream there, and but I'm not having lobster ice cream. So it's the thing to do in downtown Bar Harbor when I was there is everybody's walking around with a cone, ice cream cone. So I had to be in. I love me some ice cream, so we rocked it. So that was good stuff. The first night that I was in Bahaba, if you will, I did not stay in Acadia. I was a day early, and as everybody should be aware of, last minute, in based on my last stream too, you have to plan ahead when you go to national parks. When you're camping, they're always going to be packed. You might be able to slip in if you're lucky, but this was a little state park right outside of Acadia. They had a spot for me. It was $30, which is half the price of the national park. I was 20 minutes from uh, the national park, and this actually had more facilities. It had showers and everything. Acadia doesn't, just because it's just so remote. And I mean, it's kind of on a big rock, so it's kind of hard to run plumbing and such as well. But nice little park. Did an activation there. That was fun. So following morning, this is meal losing track here. I think this might be 4 of 5 or 5 of 5 of my lobster. So this is a lobster omelet. And it doesn't sound too appetizing, but it was absolutely delicious. Fantastic. So that was good stuff. On the way to Acadia, I actually went up to Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park and did my first summit on my own. I say on my own is because James and the Murphy crew and we did a summit up Kilo 4 Lima, India. Um, Gave us some executive access, if you will, to a summit that what was it, a 5-pointer, 6-pointer? It was up there, and we were able to drive right up to it, right up to the towers, and it was awesome. So this was my first solo um, soda activation, and yes, that is a $600 motorcycle jacket that's shoved in a crevice of a rock to hold my mast up to do my soda. So yeah, you got to sacrifice a little bit, but yeah, did a soda summit there. A lot of fun. Got some really good contacts. Did multiple bands, and just sat up there and kind of roasted and got after it. And one thing about Cadillac Mountain is I think they only allow 160 passes per day to go up there, and I think it was like $10. And they mainly just do that so you don't have 600 people up on the summit. So I actually kind of appreciated it. There's a lot of criticism about it, but I get it. And the nice thing is about that mountain summit as well is they do it in 30-minute increments, but there's no duration max. So if you want to get up there at noon and stay till 4, you can. Or if you want to just go down up there for a little bit, you can. You can only get one pass per day though. You can't go back up. So once you're down, you have to wait for it to reset the next time. So yeah, so
So
that
the
was
answer
fun.
to your question, Dave, I'm not sure. Maybe. Would that make my auto CQ be louder than when I'm doing a live transmission? Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I had to have that turned up. It's a possibility because Everybody knows that that's activated with me. I'm deaf and I like my stuff loud. So it's a possibility. And Dan says I broke his playback. That's on the DX10, Dan. That's why you wasn't allowed to touch the FTX one, and you only broke the sideband. The CW still works with the DX10. Oh, and one more thing, I got to go on a rant. So you said you didn't mind the paying to go up there and stuff like that. So I'm going to go on my rant here. States in America make it way too expensive for people to stay healthy. You know, for one, you can go to a fast food restaurant and order something way cheaper than you could order something healthy. You know, you could go to a restaurant and order something nasty for you way cheaper than you can order something healthy. But state parks, national parks, and stuff like that, our tax dollars pay for those parks to start with. I don't think we should have to pay again to go into them. They're for recreation for us to use. They're for their fitness. They're for stuff like that. And it totally annoys me. That's just like this woman in Florida is like, well, we keep our parks very clean. I'm like, yeah, we do in West Virginia too. And, you know, we don't pay for parks in West Virginia. Matter of fact, our national park has no fee to get in. You can get into a national park in West Virginia with no fee. Right. So, I mean, it's just my rant, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you're charging people to get out and enjoy the great outdoors, something that you've taken from somebody at one time or another anyway.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think my main takeaway on the comment that I said on what I appreciate is the fact that they regulate the amount of people to go up there so you can enjoy the experience, and not have that overpopulation. So that I did appreciate, because I remember my buddy and I, when we were at Arches, we went and it was just not fun.
Yeah,
We did not enjoy
fine.
Arches because there's so many people.
They can have somebody sit there and like, it's full up there right now. You'll have to wait until somebody comes down or something.
Yep.
But they shouldn't charge you to hike up a mountain. If you're going to charge me, you're going to put me on a ski lift and take me up there.
Right. Yeah. But I just appreciated the regulation on it, because then there was parking spots and it was already kind of tight up there as it was. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Speaking of eating healthy, there's some broccolini at least. Absolutely. So while I was in Bar Harbor, my mom's like, if you're out East Coast, you have to get crab cakes. They're the best. I'm like, okay. So that afternoon, I got on the Googles and found the best crab cakes in town. So, Mom, there they are, and they were fantastic. So, absolutely delicious.
Hey, thanks for that, Alpha India 4 Zulu Delta. Appreciate it, buddy.
The next slide is my campsite that I planned, I don't know, a month ahead of time just to get for one night because it's a national park. And that was my spot in Acadia. And next couple of spots there. Yeah. Got the good old Obama Tech. That's my go-to shot right there. And that was my map for that night. And I actually hit Poland that night, which was kind of fun, on 5 watts and a wire. So that was cool.
That's cool. I'm glad to see some 40 meters in there too.
Oh yeah, got to do that. Yep. And then that's I just kind of wanted to give a little overview of my kit. So the top one is my tent and a dry sack. Compression sack, the yellow and gray one, that's my sleep pad. The other one is a sleeping bag, and then the bottom one is a sleeping bag liner. I hate being hot when I sleep, and so a lot of the times, including in Dayton when I camp, I just rock a sleeping bag liner just to take a little bit of the chill off. And if it gets cold, I'll have my sleeping bag next to me, and I'll slide into that at like 4 a.m. So yes, PP, I said 5 watts.
That's what I was shaking my head for.
Yep. No, I saw you shaking your head, so I'm like, I gotta go read. So yes, Nemo Tensor Whiskey 1. It's funny. when I was going out west, when I was at the national park, I woke up to my pad flat. So I actually bought that Nemo out in Washington State. I'm sorry, no, it was in Eugene, Oregon. I bought that at a REI there locally. So yeah, that sleeping pad saw coast to coast within 3 weeks. It was kind of cool. So any motorcyclists know when they see that photo, you know what that means. The bike has seen some stuff. The Whiskey One, the tent is just a mountain engineering Amazon special for like $100. So nothing too fancy. So wore out that rear tire, and that one was 2,700 miles. And the next shot is something that is kind of a rite of passage, in my opinion, for an adventure bike rider. I've always paid to have my tires installed, but this time I rode up to Varna and I'm like, Dad, we're going to figure this out. I've watched numerous YouTube videos, and I got the Motion Pro Bead Buddy Pro levers that pops the bead for you, and changed my tire myself. And the next one, I actually balanced it as well. So you can see that fresh tread on that. So that was a lot of fun. So with any hobbies, I really like to do as much as I can by myself, for myself, just to learn the ins and outs. Because if you have a problem in the field, you can fix it. So now I have the confidence that if I need to internally patch a tire, out in the field somewhere, I can at least limp along to an auto parts store or a tire shop that has a compressor for me to reseat the bead, and I can do a proper patch. Because with BMW specifically, the dealership density isn't a whole lot. And so I really try to keep a lot of tools on hand to fix the common problems that I can. And actually, out west, population density isn't that much. So you might be a few hundred miles from either fuel or a local shop. So one thing that I've learned on this Rove is I want to be able to be self-sufficient to some capacity to not get into trouble. So, and that goes for radio too. I love building my own antennas, understanding how they work. So if they do break, I can, either fix them in the field, or I don't have to buy a new one. I can just go back home and fix it. Funny thing is, I actually broke the tether of the wire to my lead of my paracord on my end-fed, and so I had to just do a little tie of a knot, and I limped along my end-fed for the rest of the trip because I only had my only backup antenna was my dipole, and I like using my end-fed because I can band hop fast. Like if you spot and I'm on 30 meters, I like to just go back over really quick, just hit an AB, get you, and then go back to business for that. So yeah, great trip, loved it. 9,000, almost 10,000 miles in 3 riding weeks. It was good time.
So Gene, that is awesome. Glad they do that for veterans, and thank you very much for your service. Kyle said, balance yourself. That's impressive. So I'm going to say that's pretty impressive because Kyle never gives me compliments because I unbalance myself all the time. And I don't get nothing.
Well, it's not really that hard. It's what you do is you have to have the proper jig, so you have minimal rolling resistance, and then you just sit the wheel there, and then obviously the heaviest part is at the top or at the bottom, and so you just turn it 90 degrees. You put weights on the opposite side, and if that part goes down, you add more weight. If that top goes up, you take weight away, and then it should just stay there.
You got to realize you're talking to a chat full of hams. We add weight in our midsection trying to balance ourselves, and it's not working well for us. So, you know what? This is kind of interesting because Don Izzo's in the chat, and this is kind of a full circle thing right now. So many of you heard me tell the story of how I got started in POTA, listening to a POTA pile up, and then the first video I ever watched was Don Izzo's video, and it got me, obsessed with POTA. And now tonight, Steven is on my stream, and the way Steven got obsessed with POTA was scrolling through the band and finding me all the time.
And hearing the roar.
and
because I would look
hearing
at
this.
my waterfall and I would just see this 3K just obliteration. I'm like, do I have what I think it's called noise? Do I have RFI? I'm brand new. Yeah, and I just saw the waterfall going nuts.
And listening to that pile up, and he said he could always just get me. I was always out there, so it's kind of a full circle thing. So
Yeah.
technically, I guess Don's your grandpa, Steven.
Okay. Well, thank you, Grandpa Don, for getting me into this. It's been awesome.
Oh.
You have me addicted to 3 things now.
I have, and how much more do we got? We can talk about the other one.
We can do it. So
Are you done
first
with
and
your?
foremost, it was POTA. That was the first one. And then you started talking about is it the continuous wave thing? Is that what it is? Is that what you talked
Yeah,
about? Yeah.
I kind of started a lot of people with that, but yeah,
Yeah.
and he
And I had a slow start, I feel. Well, and I was busy when you really were getting into it, and I hunted CW for a good year. And I just had that anxiety around it. And last year I'm like, you know what? Hold my seltzer, I'm gonna do this. And yeah, so that was my second addiction.
yeah,
And yep, the
bleeps
beeps
and
and the
bloops.
bloops for sure. Yeah.
And the third addiction, this is why I think Steven's back to doing more sideband again. He can say what he wants to, but I'm going to let him tell it what he wants
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Well, I think I mentioned last week that I had I can't even say it. I'll say it. An ICOM IC 2730. Okay, I said it. Um, Radio for satellite work. And so since last stream, I actually have 5 or 6 satellite contacts. I have contacts on the ISS, SO50, SO124. Been trying the 125, haven't hit it yet. But yeah, I'm getting kind of I'm getting hooked. Getting hooked. So that's part of the reason why I hit sideband back. I need to kind of get my verbal call sign chops back up a little bit too, for that. But I've been watching a lot of videos on how people work things, and I had a lot of anxiety around remembering the call sign non-phonetically because we're so used in HF to do it
Yep.
phonetically, and now
Yep.
it's like instead of you know
It's a mixture
Kilo Echo
actually
8 Papa
now.
Zulu. Yeah, it is a mixture. Yeah. And so instead of KE8 PZN, or that's what it is. And so it was throwing me off. But knowing now that it's a mixture and what I've learned, and anybody please chime in if this is wrong. But a lot of people will call the other person by their grid square because that's the last thing they say. So if I hear KE8 PZN EN97, and I'm trying to get them, I'll go EN97. This is Kilo Delta 9 Uniform Delta Victor, you know, EN70, and they'll come back to me. And I've done that a couple of times. So I've just been trying to focus on at least getting their grid square, and I'll call back on that to get them back. And that's worked out pretty well so far.
So
But
Don wants to know what radios you have and what your favorites are, and he's talking about POTA.
okay. My radios are so in the truck, I have an 891 mobile. For that with a whip. I have actually 2 whip studs, and then I have a coax, 50-foot piece of coax going to the rear of the truck to do Eagle One infed or whatever, and then I have a switch behind the driver's seat that I can switch through. So that's my truck rig. I have another 891 that was my first kind of mobile motorcycle rig. So I have a second 891 with the rails, and I put in a backpack. I just sold my 991A, so she's gone because that funded the IC 2730. I have a DX10 in the home shack with what's the model? A Matt Y200 tuner. That's my home shack. I have an infed 40-meter infed for that. I have a mountain topper, which is the size of a deck of cards for QRP field radio, KX2 for field radio, and KX3. So to answer your question on my favorite radio, KX2 is pretty awesome because it'll tune up anything, as Dan will attest to. And it just gets after it. Battery life is great. It has internal lithium power. It charges automatically if you have 12 volts to it. It's just fantastic. So for QRP, that would be my go-to radio. For QRO, um, oh, and I have my 710 on Armo Lock. That's my go-to QRO field rig. For QRO rig, my favorite rig would be the DX10 that I own. The 710 is fantastic. It's this with the DX10. I love having the separate knobs so you don't have to menu dive for your notch and your filter widths and all of that. So I like those, just a few extra knobs to do that. But from a performance piece, the 710 is right up there with it, with the DX10. So hopefully that overly answers your question.
Hey, it answers mine. You're mostly a Yazoo guy, so I'm gonna like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
actually have most of the radios you just talked about. Is what's funny. Change
you
out the
just don't have the
710.
710.
Change out your 710. I got the FTX1, which is kind of a
Yeah.
710 in performance wise with a 991A in functionality. So
Yeah. Oh, and I have an FTM 500 in the truck as well. With I pulled a Whiskey Delta 4 Delta Alpha November and literally drilled a hole through my roof and put a NMO mount on the top and dropped the headliner and did the thing because I figured if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right.
you know what? If somebody wants to pull me a truck in the driveway this evening, I'll go do the same thing right now. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Oh, anyway, all right. We are coming up on the top of the hour. Another great stream from Steven. A wrap up from last week. So, but you know what? He had a lot of information on motorcycle roving, and you know this ain't his first enchilada on the motorcycle. You know he's showed up at my house a couple of times on the motorcycle before, and then you know it just
Right
to my
before a
house is
massive storm once. Remember
just,
that?
just yeah
Lightning.
just to my house is a good way for him. So
Yeah.
and he's just coming to or from when he's going to my house. So you know he's really brave when it comes to that stuff. I would love to do some adventure biking.
Let's go.
I'm just not as adventurous in the biking department as Steven because I'm old and know what I'm capable of. But yeah, when he started talking about going to Alaska and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I think you bumped your head, but okay, cool. You go at it. You know,
I mean, I'm doing it in the summer. I'm not going to do it in February.
see,
That
I
would be
don't have
crazy.
to so much watch those weather apps like you do because I just pull in wherever I want and I can sleep in the car. You know,
Right. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I have to watch the lightning apps just like you do. So
I got rubber on the road. I'll be fine.
so what you got coming up, Steven?
Hunting satellites, going down that whole rabbit hole and trying to get that all figured out. I had fired up the 3D printer. It's been on a hiatus. I made um a mount for the arrow antenna that has a pivot to it. And so I'll be able to at least use a tripod for that because anybody that hunts satellites, they know that you have all of the things. You have your recorder, your radio, your phone to try to figure out your azimuth and elevation, and you're holding the antenna, and you maybe want to try to log as well. And so it'd be nice to at least have the antenna kind of handled. So
You know,
that's going to be my next step.
I'm telling you, I've done it standing up, but I'm telling you, if you're doing it from home, now when I'm out and doing POTA, all mine are standing up.
Right.
You know, or if I'm in between parks and there's a pass coming, they're all standing up. But when I'm home, I pull out my table, I pull out my chair, I sit there like the lazy ham that I am, and I work satellites, and it's much more enjoyable. If the sun is really hot, I pull out my shade and use it as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's when I do it from home, and I'm never home. So, but
Yeah, I'm sure that would be easier. It's just I try to not have a bunch of kit. I try to keep things simple as much as I can, but it would be more comfortable for sure. But yeah, I'm just trying to get my chest rig all dialed in, and I think having the tripod will really help.
Yeah, I'm still dialing mine in. That's why I haven't released a video on all of my equipment and stuff yet. But if there are any satellite people in there, because I've been picking up a lot of new satellite people on the channel, don't worry. Satellite Saturday is still happening this Saturday. There's already a video ready to drop, and it'll be good to go. And if there's something you want to see specifically on Satellite Saturday, feel free to reach out. These POTA guys sure will. So you guys can do it too. All right. As for me, I'm going to head over to After Chat after this, and I'm sure Steven will join us. And
Absolutely.
After Chat is a Patreon benefit, but lucky for you, if you are smart enough to fill out the free trial and then message myself, don't message Dan tonight since he's sick, but message myself and let me know that you did it so I can get you the benefits in Discord. Come hang out with us tonight, and you're going to get hooked and stay with the Patreon anyway. So it's good stuff. We got a great stream next week. There's a big POTA event coming up, and I'm not even going to give no hints what this POTA event is, but it's coming up very soon, and somebody will be on here talking about it next Wednesday. Other than that, I'm dropping shorts every day just about now. I'm dropping videos 2 and 3 times a week. So if you like POTA, if you like satellites, if you like adventure radio, make sure and hit the notification bell and hang out with us. Catch you guys on the air, and thanks for all super chats tonight, guys. 73.
73.